Hey folks, this is the ticker guy in dark Niceville, Florida. Listen, fast money. Is that going to be fast losses if they keep reporting the way they have been? Listen, they were talking about the Citibank thing tonight, okay? And, if you look at the futures and you look what happened with Citibank stock in the after hours, as soon as they came out and started crooning about this, they went batshit, okay? Do not buy into this. This is what's going on, guys. It's not mortgage-backed securities that we're taking at 90 cents on the dollar. That's a load of crap. What it is it's leverage buyout money. Now, that would be somewhat of a score, except that it's actually being bought back by the people who borrowed it in the first place. Huh? Let me explain to you what happened here. Citibank underwrote a whole bunch of LBOs, leveraged buyouts. Typically what happens with these private equity companies is they put up about 10% of the money, the bank puts up the rest, and then they syndicate it and try to sell it off. Well, the problem is they haven't been able to get anybody to buy it. All right. So now Citibank gets themselves in a little balance sheet trouble. Maybe a lot of balance sheet trouble. Or maybe they just decided to throw away $1.2 billion because their CEO had a bad golf game today. But somehow I don't think it was the third. So they go out and they try to find somebody to buy something, but nobody wants to buy any of their crap because, well, quite frankly, it's all crap. But the private equity guys that took this loan, see, they're in the first loss position. They have a 10% loss that they can take because their 10% stake can be totally wiped out. And these deals are kind of looking sort of stinky right now. And they got a bunch of cash laying around. They don't have any other deals they want to do because, well, quite frankly, the debt market kind of sucks. And the LBO money market sucks even worse. And so they're sitting around literally with their finger up their butt. And they're trying to figure out what in the hell they're going to do with all this cash. Well, they could just send it back to the people that made the investments, but that would be a little bit of egg on their face. It wouldn't make them look real good. And in addition, these hedgies, they really don't like to send the money back. If you ask them for it, sometimes they'll give it to you, although frequently they make you wait for it. So what they did essentially was get together with Citibank and buy their own debt back at a 10% discount. Yeah. Okay, look, if you have a 10% loss, and you've taken essentially all of that loss, and you buy the debt back at 90 cents on a dollar, you all of a sudden have gotten rid of the loss, right? You're a genius. You took a $1 billion loss and you turned it into no loss. Well, that's pretty damn good. If you had a $500 million loss, and remember, these guys only started with $1 billion. Okay, they got somebody else to underwrite the rest, to $1.2 billion, and they got Citibank to underwrite the rest, the other $12 billion. So these guys are in the hole for about $1 billion. If they get Citibank to give them the debt back at 90 cents on the dollar, instead of a $1 billion loss, they have a $200 million profit. It's a pretty good deal. That's what's going on. Now, from their point of view, it makes every bit of sense in the world, provided that they're reasonably sure they can run these companies and they're not going to go bust. Probably a pretty good assumption. They also no longer give a shit about anything like covenants. They can go dilute the living shit out of these companies. They can issue all the stock, all kinds of other crap, all kinds of other debt. Any ratios or covenants regarding that were in the original transaction are now gone because they bought it all back. So they get to tear up all that paperwork and all those nasty constraints and do whatever the hell they want. Great deal for them. Now, let's talk about Citibank. Citibank just ate a $1.2 billion charge. It is a near certainty that they had all of that debt on their books at par. They may have even had some of it on their books at above par. But it is now essentially guaranteed that they have eaten a charge, which, by the way, hasn't been recognized. So that's going to show up in their earnings, or if they have earnings. The other problem is, why would you give somebody $1.2 billion? Well, you'd only do it if, A, it was the only thing you could sell, because everything else is worth less. Remember, why not sell off your stuff that's par? Okay? So if you've got all your stuff that you can pledge at the Fed, already at the Fed, and you got this stuff that you can get these guys to buy, and the rest of the stuff you have on your balance sheet is crap, it's worth nothing, what the hell do you do? You're approaching your capital limits. These positions are deteriorating, and furthermore, you're scared to death that you're going to have a counterparty problem with these credit default swaps written by people like AMBAC, MBIA, there's little guys out there that are getting downgrades by the day. In fact, there was just a whole other bunch of downgrades that was thrown at the mortgage insurers. Now, these guys are probably not going to cause direct exposure to the banks. They will to the lenders. They will to Fannie and Freddie potentially, but they're not going to cause direct exposure to places like Citibank. But you got to be scared out of your skull that one of those monolines, which, by the way, have gotten some downgrades, is going to go boom. Or worse, you know that you've got some hedge funds that are going to go boom, and all of a sudden you're going to violate it to your capital ratio. Game over. So, to stop that, you grab $12 billion by selling the only thing you can. Good for the stock? Guess it's better than a poke in the eye, and it's better than what WAMU did, doubling their share count, diluting all their shareholders by 50%. But is it a reason to go out and buy banks tomorrow? No. If anything, it's a reason to wonder who's next and how much more margin do these guys have.